an award-winning composer, arranger, and music director who composes music for film, documentaries, and TV commercials, besides theater, of course. And his name is Onn San. With him, we also have invited Kim Lim, who is a performer in Malaysia and also workshop organizers, who will be sharing their experiences and also talk about workshop in depth, what we can expect from this coming up workshop with Onn San. So stay tuned.
Anything can happen Friday. The art and cultural side of Southeast Asia.
Good morning, welcome to DurianASEAN, the voice of discovery and sharing. You're with Grace at Anything Can Happen Friday. So, well, we do usually share all this social culture side, and today we're going to talk about this particular workshop. It's been going on for some time already. So we have two lovely and handsome speakers in our house today. So let's say good morning to them. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Well, thank you for coming over.
Thank you for inviting us.
You're welcome. So, yes, Onn San, you are composer for film and you're also the arranger and then for music and a TV. So, could you introduce yourself briefly?
Sure. My name is Onn San. I am born in KL. I'm a KL boy, born and raised. I studied music basically throughout my entire life. I did my degree in classical music in UCSI, University College Sedaya International. And then right after that, I went to New York to do my master's in musical theater writing. And so that sort of sets my career path from then on. A lot of people ask me, so what do you do actually? Do you write musicals? And I said, yes, that's what I do.
Right.
That's exactly what I do. Even though it's hard to believe,
What do you mean by it's hard to believe?
Well, it's like, for some people, it's not a legit job. It's not like you write musicals. That's like not doctor. That kind of thing.
So
it's not really a job. When I'm back in Malaysia, yeah. Most Malaysians. So I have to tell them, it's a job. People actually hire me to write. Right. Although I don't have the 9 to 5 thing. So I did that for about 4 years here in KL after I came back from the States. And then 2 years ago, I joined a company called Maverick AV, which is a post-production audio house. And that's where I did a lot of film scoring. I did a lot of jingle writing, songwriting for artists, for film, and things like that. So,
all right.
Yeah.
So, my first question: why did you choose New York?
Why? New York was really it was a surprise actually, because I knew. I knew I wanted to study musical theater after I'd written my second musical. I've always loved Broadway shows. I watch a lot of Broadway shows like online. Not really in New York. So I've always had that dream of going to New York, even to just do a course or to just watch Broadway shows. But I didn't know that I'll be studying there in New York.
All right.
So that was kind of a surprise for me, yeah.
All right. Well, music in general is pretty wide areas, right?
Yeah.
And then you particularly chose this genre, musical.
Yes.
But you're from classical background. How did that work, that transition from classical to music? I know you were always interested in the musical. Yeah.
I never thought myself as a classical background musician. Right. Just because I think I don't really fall into the typical classical musician. Right. Not that it's a bad thing, it's just that I am trained classically, that's all. So I did all the ABRSM, the piano.
Oh, so you went
exams.
through all the way to grade 8?
Yeah, I went through all the way to grade 8. Even though my sight reading sucks.
All right. It's okay. It happens.
So even in college as well, I still failed my sight reading once in a while. And then but I do enjoy the history part of it. So when I was studying classical music, I learned a lot about the history of music. So that was interesting for me. But I knew that I also want to go into songwriting. Yeah.
So that's how you got yourself into songwriting, the journey that you've been in so far.
Into musicals?
Yes.
Yeah, I wrote my first musical ever in my college. It was a college project. It was a student-driven thing, and yeah, I sort of like came together with a bunch of friends and said that, hey, let's do this together. We can write songs. Why don't we put together some songs and then tell a certain story? And that sort of blew up. The dean at that time, she heard our music and she loved the score, so she decided to produce it. And so that's where my musical came about.
It's really interesting when it comes to songwriting. It can be anything, and there are lots of songwriters out there. But songwriting for musicals, do you think of the whole storyline first, or you just inspired by something and you just start writing?
Well, there's no one way of working, really. I mean, there are people will tell you that there are formulas of to how to write a good musical, but I know people who has no knowledge of music whatsoever, but yet they still can write a musical. They can still as long as they are they're able to carry a tune or write a certain tune. So I don't think there's one way of writing it. For me, it's usually the story that drives me.
Right.
So I get inspired by the story. I get inspired by the characters of what this story is telling, and then I would go into the psyche of the characters. What kind of songs they will be singing, that sort of thing. Yeah.
So you will think of all those instrumentations and then the singing, the lyrics and story.
Oh, I don't write the lyrics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I usually collaborate with a lyricist and a book writer. So a book writer is the one who writes the story, who structures the story of the musical.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about yourself and your experiences here.
Sure.
So you've been into this particular area, and in Malaysia here.
Yes.
How is it like in Malaysia and that particular industry? I will say musical industry or music in general.
A lot of people ask me that question. Coming back from the States, actually, to be honest with you, the industry has always been around. It's not that there wasn't any musicals that was around. It's just that I think the exposure was not that great compared to right now. So there are a lot more commercial musicals, I'll call it.
Yeah.
So the exposure we're getting more and more exposure in terms of theater, but musicals, theater, dance, drama has always been in Malaysia for the longest time. I mean, you have legends, like Johasha and Farida, all these people who laid down, the foundations, even Chin San Sui, all these people. So when I came back, I knew that I would be joining a industry, that is growing. It has its weaknesses. It has, lacking in areas. But I was very excited to see, where I can take this industry. How can I help to grow this industry? So I was in that whole, what can I do to make this industry better kind of mindset.
So your contribution to this particular society that you are already in now. Before. You said there are legendary people who already set the foundation here in Malaysia, but still the acceptance level in Malaysia in general, the public-wise, how are they? How are the responses to appreciating all this artwork and the musicals?
I mean, I wouldn't lie, it's still a struggle to get our work out, especially original work. But the reception has always been, if you are Malaysian and you're writing a Malaysian work, people will come and support you, regardless of who you are. The only problem is that, when you keep, either producing something that's not good, so people will tend to stereotype, oh, this is a Malaysian work, so it's obviously not good.
Yes.
But there are a lot of great people doing great things, Malaysian. So I would say that, it's still a growing industry. People are still opening their hearts. They are still a bit skeptical. but yet at the same time, I think we are longing for more original work.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, when people are being skeptical, it's something to do with the mindset, and especially with all this Western influence when it comes to musical. There are great works in the West. Now, I'm not being sarcastic about that.
Of course.
Yeah, and then we do appreciate all this Western influence. However, when it comes to appreciating our local artwork, that's another story to talk about, isn't it? And the public reception, like you mentioned, people tend to stereotype, oh, this is a Malaysian work. Perhaps we go for the better standard, quote and unquote.
Yeah.
So, what is your perspectives, and how would you encourage all this public or even your friends to come over to appreciate the local arts more?
I think at the end of the day, good work is good work, regardless whether it's local or not. I've seen some international shows that are not that great as well, you know. So I think to change that sort of mindset of, you know, West is better or foreign is better, we need to start seeing more original work come into the forefront. So not saying that we take away all the international shows and always give priority to that, but you know, really feeding the audience, feeding the public that these shows exist. Come and watch these shows, and be honest about it. You know, what kind of shows are they? You know, not trying to be, you know, somebody else. You know, just so I think the more we get that exposure, the better. Yeah, I would say, and the audience would see that more often.
Right. So we'll take a short break. When we return, we'll talk more and discuss more with Onn San, and perhaps this time we'll invite Kim as well.
Yeah.
Anything can happen Friday. The art and cultural side of Southeast Asia.
Welcome back to DurianASEAN. You're still with Grace, Onn San, and Kim. So, Kim.
Time for you to speak.
Yes, for sure. So, you are the workshop organizer as well as you are a performer.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about this music workshop that you've been organizing.
Right.
How did it start, and why did you start this workshop?
I used to teach in a school, guitar. And then when we teach in the school, they have this like 9 months program, and then the remaining 3 months is like holiday because it's high school. So during these 3 months, like students kind of don't practice and kind of forget what is music. So I wanted to create this workshop and invited some of my college friends, and they provided talks to these kids so that they get inspired, and hopefully they still practice at home. And then when the next year I come back and I see progress, that was my initial plan. So that was the first workshop that happened in 2013.
2013. Okay.
Yeah. Then after that, when it looks, I mean, the response looks good, so we opened it up to the public and invited local and international kind of workshop. We call it workshop guru lah, to provide these talks and lessons to music enthusiasts like that.
So how does workshop usually run? Do you have any structure for all those gurus to come over and give, or it's sort of freestyle?
Yeah, normally it runs like one whole day, like probably 10 to 10, like probably like 3 to 4 workshops in a day, and then ends with a performance.
Right.
Yeah, but there was an issue about the response when it comes to a whole day workshop,
because people can't commit.
Yeah, people can't commit, or some are not really interested in the whole day thing, and some gets tired. You know, like Malaysians, easy to get tired. And so it started off like whole day, and then we reduced it to half day, and now like 2 hours. The response is different and it's progressive. Like that. Yeah.
So you've been running this since 2013.
Yeah.
And you have invited quite many speakers, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how is it like by inviting speakers to workshop, and then people being interactive with all the speakers there? How is it like the whole workshop show? Is it, I mean, do you think this workshop is really educating the public in the right direction?
Right. Because we invited like international like people from Canada, or there was like a percussionist from Germany and a fingerstyle guitarist from UK. So we actually accepted like different kinds of music around the world, which is not really happening in Malaysia.
Right.
And it kind of opens up. Oh, like some participants were like, oh, I've never heard of this kind of music,
Right.
and it's very interesting, you know. And some participants go like, I've really never participated such workshop before, because we are bringing in different kind of elements to Malaysia. So the response was, yeah, different kind of response, not like those like it inspires them actually to kind of want to work on their craft. Yeah.
So it's more about engaging the crowds.
Yeah, because we make the classes, normally workshops, like we limited their seats, like 10 to 15 probably, and normally they bring their instruments and really work on
Right.
on the techniques and stuff that the guru is going to present. Yeah, so it's much more like interactive and hands-on thing.
Yeah, and what I find interesting about the workshop is that, you know, Kim gets these gurus that are from the industry itself. So they're not, you know, we're not like professors in a university or anything like that, but we're actually practitioners. You know, I think most of them are all people who are practicing music, you know, in the industry. So you get first-hand experience, you get first-hand comments, you know, feedback from people in the industry. So that's very interesting.
Because like their experience is very important, I think, to them, rather than like theory stuff and
Right.
and things like that. So like normally after the workshop they will mingle around and get the chit chat starts to evolve. And
Right.
yeah, I remember like the last workshop we had Anna Chong in, so it became like a forum rather than a workshop, because people want to know like how does it work in her industry, and how did she manage to pull off things that they face in their industry.
So you hear it from
Yeah.
the horse's mouth, you know.
Right.
Directly.
Okay. So going back to you, Onn San, so you will be one of the groups
Am I?
for this workshop. So tell me more
Yes.
about what can people expect from your workshop?
All right.
You
so
don't need to give us the whole
Dun, dun,
workshop.
dun, dun.
yeah, do you have an hour? No. When Kim told me that you know, I'm giving this workshop on songwriting, I was like, what songwriting? Oh, and she said like, oh, anything. It's like, don't tell me anything, because I'm gonna go like everywhere. But what I spoke to Kim about, so because the participants are kind of like, you know, it's open, so some of them are musicians, some of them are songwriters, some of them are not.
Right.
You know, I can't really give them an in-depth songwriting masterclass, but for me it's divided into two sections. The first half of it will be a lot of, I guess, theory, you know, so just some basic knowledge of you know, what songwriters use, like terms, you know, how do we you know, the technical side of things of songwriting. So it's very, very general, so everybody can learn that. So even if you're not a songwriting, if you deal with a songwriter, you know what they're talking about. So I would sort of give that overall general thing. And then the second half of it is, I was thinking of this, so instead of going into a very in-depth songwriting class, because I only have like an hour.
2 hours.
Well,
2 hours.
Yeah.
well, the first hour is
I've been
that.
telling you that.
First hour is that general thing, like I said. The second hour is the whole actual songwriting.
Right.
But what I'll be focusing more on is actually some of the things that songwriters should do and shouldn't do, and what happens when they're stuck. So
Stuck in what sense? Writing song
I
processes.
think, yeah, a lot of times when I talk to a lot of songwriters, I think everybody has their style of writing, you know. I'm not here to teach you how to write a song, you know, I'm not here to tell you how to do it. But there are certain ways that, you know, things like how do I begin? Because most of the time songwriters find it difficult is starting
Right.
and the ending.
Ending. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's always these two things that songwriters struggle. The in between, you know, I don't really care what you do, you know, to get the song out. but it's how you start and how you end. So I'm gonna talk. The second half of it will be a lot about that. So, and then there will be a Q&A session as well. So, yeah.
Rather than Q&A session, what are the other engagement sort of activity that you're planning to do?
In my workshop?
Yeah.
Clap hands.
Clapping? Yeah.
Clapping. I'm gonna get them to actually write a song in the entire workshop. So by the end of it, they actually have a song of their own. Even though if they may not have written a song, or even though they doesn't have any music skills, it's fine. Like I said, as long as you know a bit of music.
Well, I think the reason why I say anything is because normally I don't want to restrict like what the presenters want to talk.
Right.
But beforehand, we would like kind of discuss what students are we expecting, like what kind of participants that are we going to expect, and how are we going to work this out, and what can the participants get like out of it, like fully get out of it. So it's we don't want to restrict them from expressing what they want to.
It'll be very interesting workshop, because there will be lots of sort of aspect, and also the educating part to the public, and how they can improve themselves via this workshop. And this is also very engaging and interactive, and lots of things are going on in the particular workshop. How about let's talk about the challenges here. Workshop, when it comes to workshop, what are the challenges that you have faced so far, rather than people can't commit to the whole day program? Or
I think maybe like publicity, because it's like a very kind of independent, or we have like indie music, so this like indie workshop. So it's actually just run by me and my partner. So two of us has to like get sponsorship sometimes, and go out publicizing the events and posters and stuff, and everything is just two of us. So but she's studying and I'm working, so it's also like a challenge. And participants sometimes like when we get like near to the date, and shit, we have only 5 participants, and how? Sometimes we face such issue, and then we try to crack our heads and how to bring in people, but we learn from there. Like we learn how to market things and how to improve like the next workshop, and what people will be expecting, things like that. Yeah.
All right.
Just so Kim is from a music background.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is not exactly her job, but she's doing this out of passion. So definitely we need as much support as we can, from anywhere.
And again, Onn San is supporting you in this way also.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So when it comes to songwriting, I also want to ask you, Kim. Because you said you're a performer as well. Of course, I've seen you performing, and I love your performance, by the way.
Thank you.
So when it comes to songwriting, where do you get your inspirations from?
I normally get it from my daily life.
Oh, not me?
Jing, 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 jing.
I thought I'm your inspiration now.
I get it from my daily life, like what I've experienced, and it just somehow comes to my head sometimes, and it's a matter of being able to write them down and still remember it after that. So that's my...
You are a workshop organizer,
right?
But you invite all these gurus.
Because I want to learn from them too.
So you are learning from them also.
Yes, I'm learning for free. All I have to do is just organize.
Do you? Okay.
That's good, man.
Well, do you feel sometimes intimidated by these gurus, or you have the attitude of learning by inviting over, but being an organizer, because you're also the performer. So what are the sort of relationship or chemistry do you feel from all these gurus?
Yeah, Kim, what's our relationship like?
But I always think like there's always like space or play to improve. So although I'm like a performer, I think like there is always something to learn from the gurus that are presenting, like even like very small elements, even just attitude from them, I think is very important for a musician to, go further. I think even just attitude is very important to learn from. We invited gurus. Normally they are quite like down to earth, humble, willing to share, and I think that is very important in the local industry, willing to share, because or else we won't grow together.
Or isn't it the other way around? Because Kim is such a humble person that she's the one who's spreading this humbleness to all these that you teach you from.
Definitely yes, yeah. Because I'm not humble. No, I'm just.
He's gangster.
But also I think from us, from the teachers also, I've given 4 workshops now. Every time I learn something new from the participants, so it's not just me teaching, it's also me learning from the participants, because you get different crowds. You'll be surprised who you get in a group. So every time I do something like this, I'm always very excited.
Yeah, because like some like gurus, they came back and told us like, wow, we never expect like this kind of crowd, this kind of participants giving me such challenging questions, and make them like go back and think more about it, which is good. It's evolving. It's an evolvement rather than we just bring in an artist. She's gonna talk everything, and everyone just come on, clap hands, and then go back. No more relations.
So the moral of the story is that you should look up musical workshop.
Moral.
If you're a teacher or a student, go look it up.
Right. Okay, we'll take another short break.
Anything can happen Friday. The art and cultural side of Southeast Asia.
So I believe both of you have been in this industry for some time, for a few years already. I'm sure the music scene here, or should I say performing arts or entertainment scene in general, has changed a lot for the past decade. What is your perspective when it comes to Malaysian scenes? And the Malaysia is rich in culture and religion, even food. So when it comes to music, we know that there is a Malay scene, there's Chinese scene, there is also Indian scenes there. But when the music in general, how is it? Maybe Onn San can share his
you're asking about music in
the Malaysia,
in radio or in theater or
okay, let's go for theater then.
Theater?
Yeah.
For theater, yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. There we have actually it's actually pretty separated. We have the Malay industry, we have the Chinese and the Indian industry for performing arts, and very rarely I would say that these industries come together.
Right.
Primarily because of the language. So a lot of times, we, except for English, I guess, because English is sort of general.
Yep.
I don't really represent all of the industries, but I've been involved in the English side of things, which is even more niche, compared to the Malay, Chinese, and Indian. But once in a while, you get a production that combines a lot of these, art, even people in these industries, different industries. Like I know Rhythm and Bronze, they do something like that, where they will get an artist from the Indian industry to perform with them. So you get performing artists, performing groups that does that, but not a lot. Not many, unfortunately. Yeah.
Right. So language is actually a big barrier when
it
comes to music, and that is one of the factors to segregate all this community, I will say.
Kind of, but because I think also like for English-speaking people, they are much more brave. They're much more like interactive with people and willing to share more. And for Chinese, sometimes they tend to back off a bit.
More reserved.
Yeah, more reserved. And when it comes, I mean, if you put like these two people on stage, I'm not talking about the races. I'm talking about English speaking and Chinese. So when you put them on stage, you can see like the difference is very strong there.
Right.
Yeah, because probably like the English speaker will be much more interactive with his audience and performs much more expressively. Sometimes like the Chinese might just
I
back
kind of
off a bit.
disagree with
Really?
that. Yeah,
Why is
I actually saw a Chinese production which is actually very very outspoken and very brave as well. The only difference is that I don't understand a single thing. You know, because, although I'm Chinese, but I don't speak I don't understand Mandarin. But I could still enjoy the show. You know, I know what they're doing. I know what they're trying to do, even though I don't understand the language. I think this is just the language barrier is one thing. If you can overcome that, you know, it's not difficult to overcome that language barrier. You know, you just got to look past it.
Right.
You know, I've seen Aswara performances also. You know, which is in like a totally different language, not even Malay. It was, you know, it was a traditional kind of style, but there was art. You know, there's art in there, and I appreciated, you know, the effort, even though I don't understand the language. You know, so I think the audience also needs to be open to that idea. That being said, there are also production companies that cross over to different cultures. Like for example, Dharma Orchestra does that a lot. You know, Pen Productions, they have, you know, people from the Malay industry and the English speaking industry and the Chinese industry, so all come together into one. So
But I will say this is also an advantage when it comes to performing arts or theater scene, because of the lot of languages and different cultures, you can bring all these different colors into one production.
Exactly, yeah.
And then especially Malaysians, we can relate to all this production and the story in general.
We are waiting for Onn San to do it.
Yeah. Well, he can make that happen for sure. Yeah. But let's go back to our original topic, which was the stereotyping. You know, there is still segregation when it comes to community, and we talked about the theater scene and even music scene, I believe. When it comes to performances, English spoken community is different from Chinese community, and they don't have the common ground to meet together. Right? So could you share more about that?
You mean like music generally, right?
Yeah, for example, like open mic session. I see a lot of English spoken people than like Chinese or Indian or Malay.
We have like a lot of English open mics sessions, but only one or two like Chinese ones. And normally if you go to like the English open mic sessions, you don't really see Chinese spoken people there. You don't, I mean, you don't really get to see them there. So and normally if you go to the Chinese, you don't see other.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I think like the more like it has to work both ways. Like it has to. I think the participating thing has to involve more. Like I'm a Chinese, I speak Chinese, but I still go for English open mics, Chinese open mics, because I know the different kinds of art that is gonna happen there, and I want to see and I want to know what's happening.
But it also depends on the person's willingness to go there and then to watch the performance. But how would you encourage people to go there and then what's there to see in their eyes? You know, it's different since then. How would you encourage them? Because you started, you wanted, because you're from the Chinese community, but you want to also be involved in the English spoken community. Then you started pretty well, and then people now do know who Kim Lim is, and then she's also organizing workshops. So how would you encourage people from different scenes to be involved in like each other's scenes together?
You're talking about the artist or the audience?
Audiences.
Audiences. It's really tough. For audiences, you know, it's hard to tell them what to watch. Sometimes, you know, you can't really know. But I will actually speak from the artist's perspective. I think coming from a performing arts background also, I think every artist should go into different industries if they can, you know, because like I said, it's all about visibility. If they can see you, if they know who you are, the chances are they will like you and they will follow you. But if you are only stuck in your own niche, you know, if you're only stuck in your own industry forever, you're not going to expand. audience is not gonna know you. I mean, the audience beyond is not gonna know you.
Right.
You may be very successful in your own industry. So I mean, I try to encourage people to actually try out different things, even if it's not your comfort zone. I know people. I mean, I know a singer like Peter Onn. He musical theater background. But he does opera. He does so he engages different crowd, engages different audiences, and he's very versatile in that in that way. So as an artist, I think we all need to do that, put that effort, to sort of reach out. Yeah, that's what I would say to help.
I would talk from like the audience perspective,
Yes,
kind of
please do.
view. So I think like if like you have someone that you like, please share. Yeah, if you share and people, even if you share like once, nobody's gonna care about you. But if you share like few times and people will start to who is this? Why does he or she keep mentioning about like him?
This
And
particular,
I might just go and check him out. And because I don't think like to reach like a mass community is possible at now. But if we get like supports like that and slowly the industry evolves, I think it's possible to reach a greater audience. But it really depends on supporting. Like if I like fast band, I would tell like 10 people you should go to this place, and
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
People Mania, will you tell people about it?
Yeah, I've been telling people that Onn San is
Shameless
so great.
Yeah, so talking about that, in fact, yes,
See how I help you segue
yes,
into
thank
this,
you so
yeah.
much. I wanted to go that section.
I did your job a
actually.
bit, yeah.
So this particular album, which was released in 2012, could you tell us, Onn San, what's the story behind this album?
Yes, it's called Ipoh Mania, and it has nothing to do with the town Ipoh, even though
It's epic.
It's spelled EPO MANIA Mania. It just means a craze for epics. And the inspiration behind it was, I love film score, and I've been a fan of legends like John Williams, Hans Zimmer, us film score people up there, and I've always wanted to write things like that. It's just that I never had a chance to do it, because there was no film. I mean, hopefully one day I would be able to write for a film like that, but in that nature, in that size, it's probably not so much. So I decided to instead of waiting for those opportunities to come, why not I write something and create it my own. So it's really a passion project. It's not for me to sell albums so much because it doesn't really sell. But you can go to iTunes and search for it. It's there. This is the first album.
Right.
It's basically film score. It's sound bites done in a film score manner, written for the orchestra and choir.
Right.
Yeah.
So perhaps can you choose one song from here and tell us about it?
Sure. Yeah.
Earth.
We can talk about Earth. Earth is a song that's very close to my heart as well. It's a song sung by Stephanie Van Driessen. She's a local artist.
Right.
She's also very active in theater as well. She has her own thing. So she lent her voice to this song, and it became one of the most magical songs that I've ever written. At least I feel.
Yeah, you can YouTube it actually.
Yeah, we have a music video of this song also, so you can look for it as well.
Yes, I will.
Yeah.
So that's Earth, right?
That's Earth, yeah.
Yeah. Who are the other artists who were involved in it in terms of collaborations?
For this one, it's mainly myself, Stephanie, and also Grace Sung. She's also a singer-songwriter.
Right.
But she and I wrote the bonus track for it called Battle Cry. So that was the bonus track.
Okay.
This year, I'm releasing the second album, which is like the part 2 of it.
What is it gonna be called?
It's called Ipoh Mania 2.
All right.
Because you don't have a better title.
Wait for it. No, it's called Time and Space.
All
So
right.
yeah, Ipoh Mania 2, Time and Space. And it's the same concept. except we have a few more artists involved in it as well. So I just released a teaser image.
You
so,
did?
yeah,
Alright, okay,
online.
so we'll look for that on YouTube as well?
Yeah, you can look for it on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram.
Facebook
social.
Ipomania. Right? Facebook Ipomania.
Yes, facebook.com/ipomania.
So you're gonna have your own sort of concert with this coming up album, right?
Hopefully, yeah, we're still at works. End of the year there will be a concert or album launch.
I think it's like
Cool.
something good, like because like he said, like instead of like waiting for opportunities, it's very important to just create your own
For
opportunities.
sure, yes.
Yeah. So yeah.
I mean, it's really vain, but you know.
I don't say it's fine. It's you start something. It has to
Yeah.
start from somewhere, anyways.
I think that's what makes us Malaysian.
Vain or what?
No.
Oh, that's something.
Yeah. Well, going back to workshop, could you tell us when is it gonna be, and then where is it gonna be, and
Yes.
how can people find all this workshop?
You just need to Facebook musical workshop, and we
That's
are
Musicas in MUSICA.
yeah
workshop.
MUSICA workshop.
Not
So-
KA, right?
No,
Musica.
that's Musica.
I don't know, Malaysians. Musica. Music.
Okay.
Okay.
CA.
Okay, enough.
So musical workshop on Facebook.
Yeah, and we're organizing 4 consecutive workshops based on
Starting from?
songwritings. So it started off from Anna Chong from the indie scene, and then Tae Xiang will be from the jazz kind of settings, and
Alright.
Onn San will be in June, theater, and then the last will be Mr. Lee Shak Yao from the choir.
The choir.
Yeah,
The choir.
he is a conductor,
Uh-huh.
and he conducts choir a lot,
Right.
and so he does write things like that. Yeah,
Choirs and things
and
like
Yeah,
he
it looks like
he
the
likes Onn
workshop
San
is gonna
too.
be pretty much in depth and very interesting.
Yeah, because I think these things needs to be shared. You know, like no one, not no one. There is maybe, but very less workshops regarding choirs or theater, musical. I think I don't even cover everything. I think there is much more to other music like gamelan maybe, like Malaysia traditional music. I don't think we even know what the zapin means or
True.
yeah. So I think it's very important for us to understand this kind of industry. If you only like learn, if you only compose in the indie scene, I think it's very important if you could come for the jazz and theater and open up like to different kind of music, because I know people that only listens to certain kind of music because
Right.
they like it, but I think the world is much. I think our ears are much more capable to accept the world music,
Right.
so we should go towards there. I feel.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
very inspiring.
That
Even
is
though
very
she's
deep. Wow.
even though she is a very soft-spoken
Yeah.
person, it's just that
It's deceiving.
yeah, I can.
Bang.
We can all feel the passion and the inspiring moment at the moment. well, we are reaching the end of the session. Onn San, do you have any messages to our listeners before we end this interview?
What should I say?
I'm
to
Onn San.
encourage listeners, are we getting your workshops? Yes.
Yeah, come find out more about the workshop. You know, even if you know people who are interested, you know, do let them know. Musical workshop, as we said, we need as much support as we can get. And then yeah, if you happen to like film score music or if you like instrumental music, check out my album Ipomania.
All right. So how about Kim?
I actually don't have much, but I hope like people can be much more open to different kind of music. So yeah, do check out Onn San. Please.
Yeah.
because
That's a bad idea.
I actually why is Onn San one part of the guru, and it's because like every of these presenters are my inspiration.
Right.
Aww.
And I worked with Onn San on one of his musical, and
Nice.
it really inspires me and opens a lot of things.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
inspire me.
Yeah, right.
Really?
Okay, I think we'll continue this session after this interview. So yeah,
Right.
Onn San and Kim Lim, thank you so much for coming over to share your experiences and the
Alright.
workshop. And DurianASEAN will also try our best to promote the event, because
Thank
I
you.
think we need to have more people to participate for this particular workshops,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So right, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so much.
much.